Scuff YKK is a legendary New York City graffiti writer whose name is synonymous with graffiti's golden era. For the month of December, we teamed up with Scuff to produce a limited run of prints featuring an action sequence of his stamp-like throw-up that has been omnipresent throughout New York. Many of the prints are signed by Scuff and are on a first-come, first-served basis. The print is only available via our Patreon and will be shipped to all members, along with access to our episode library, interviews from Host 18, Cash 4, XSM, Les YKK, Sake, and Sean Crawford. Thank you, as always, to everybody who supports us. Next month, we're going to be running a second food drive in New York. Details on that on a later date. So, peace and love to everybody, and enjoy the episode. I'm fucking live, dude. Thank you so much for coming on the show, bro.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, what the fuck happened to your knee?
Well, I was just explaining that I smacked my knee last summer, in July. And I don't know, I just fell, smacked my knee. I was wearing shorts. It was really hot out. And it was a weird feeling, sensation, but I kept skating. It was just felt like it hit really perfectly in a weird way that it never had happened before, you know?
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, I just kept skating. I was on a hot one, skating every day. And slowly but surely, it just started stiffening up and just feeling whack, you know? And initially I thought it was muscular, you know? I was going to PT and trying to get my muscles in shape and just get stronger, but because there wasn't any classic instability shit. So yeah, I did that and didn't really get better, kept skating.
So you could skate on it after the
Yeah,
injury?
I was skating that same day, even after I smacked it. I continued to skate and landed my trick and everything. Wasn't even a big deal. I thought I was felt maybe a bone bruise or something, but vague, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then I finally I was just at home one night in last winter, and I what initially made me realize that it was really fucked up was I sprained my ankle of the same leg, and that I was I hadn't sprained my ankle in forever. Before this I hadn't even really been hurt for years, aside from a bruised heel or some shit, you know, nothing serious. Luckily I'd been so lucky for so long, and then this just fucking happened, and whatever, it was 6 months, sprained my ankle, and then trying to get back from my ankle, I realized holy fuck, my knee's weird as hell, but it wasn't unstable. So whatever, kept trying to skate, just doing PT exercises every morning, every night, and then just stiff, you know, typically I couldn't really do my routine stretches and shit, and then because it was tight, it was getting arthritic kind of is what I was experiencing. And then one night I was it started getting really bad about this time last year, before the winter. And I think this time last year is when I had a fucked up ankle, actually. And then I realized my knee had a floater in it, and it felt like a little jelly bean, you know? I was just at home in bed watching TV, massaging. I was putting CBD on my knee. I don't even know if that works, but I was just doing it. Mm-hmm. And I just felt like a little floater, and I was what the fuck? And then I was Googling it, and I found it's called a loose body, and it typically means you chipped cartilage, which is some shit I never even heard of, you know. The only knee injuries I've really ever heard of were ligament oriented, meniscus or ACL, MCL, shit like that, which cause instability, and I wasn't experiencing that. So yeah, I went to the doctor after that because it said if you have a loose body, the only thing to do is get it taken out orthoscopically.
So it was the cartilage was on the top of your kneecap, or how does
No,
that
it's I guess I hit the side of my knee, and there's on the ends of your bones there's glossy material that helps it's cartilage attached to the ends of bones. You'll notice on the end of a chicken bone, it's glossy, you know, and that's a thin layer of cartilage that allows provides cushioning along with your meniscus and shit. And it's basically a secondary meniscus, which I learned. I never heard of anybody doing this, and I've been to mad physical therapists asking them what my deal is, and you know, no one ever brought this up and shit. And I don't know, I found a loose body, and I tripped out because I basically read the outcome of like what I've gone through this past year is like you're gonna have to do like a cartilage regeneration or just like deal with it, and your joint becomes arthritic progressively over time. So I went to a doctor. Dude kind of sucked. He was like not very, or a surgeon. He was like, he did what he had to do, like take out the loose body and check it out, but he was very short with me, didn't really explain anything. And like insurance, like dealing with the medical system this year is just like a fucking headache, you know. It's like you don't know who to trust, like people don't get back to you, you get mixed reviews. Like I pay for insurance, like certain good doctors don't even take that shit. Like I just like bought insurance because I was like, okay, this is what I should do, and like if I didn't have insurance I'd be fucked, like, you know. But eventually I found a surgeon that seemed pretty dope. Like after I had this first dude take out the loose body, he's like, it's kind of big, he referred me to another surgeon to like see. He's like, you could maybe like run it and like who knows, you might be fine, you know. But yeah, he was like really vague and didn't want to fucking talk to me. So I was like, this sucks. He referred me to a surgeon that didn't take my insurance. So I was like, okay, back to square one. Gonna see what's good with this other surgeon. And I saw him like near like Columbus Circle. Pretty cool guy actually. Like was down to discuss it and like go over the MRI, which the previous surgeon never did. Go over like what the previous surgeon's like post-op write-up, which like he left out mad details, and there was like conflicting shit on the MRI and the post write-up. So he was like, damn dude, I'm gonna have to like reopen you up to check this out, because like it's kind like I can see on the MRI you have a pretty large defect in the cartilage, which is like causing you like arthritis essentially. Like that's what.
Sorry to interrupt you. So you got the surgery, you got the shit taken out, then it closed, it was bothering you, so then you went, and then he was like, damn, I might have to reopen it up.
Yeah, like I got this last surgery in May, like right before the summer, or like end of May probably, right before the summer. It took like 6 weeks, and I was just like skating. I was like, fuck it, I gotta like try to film, you know, like I gotta skate. But it's like been a pain in the ass. Like my shit just swells up, and like be able to skate like I can skate, and I'm thankful for that. And my shit's not like popping out of place or anything, but it would just like stiffen up, and basically felt like this leg was like 80 years old or something, you know, like super rugged, just getting swollen and stiff, and like couldn't pop as high and shit like that. And then so I seen this other guy, or I saw this other surgeon, and he was like, yeah, you could probably run it for the summer. And I was like, okay, I wanted to try to film something because we were working on a project, you know. And I thought it like if I was gonna get this cartilage replacement, which basically was like you gotta get like what we do for this. Typically there's so many different options. There's like 4 or 5 different options. There's like stem cell, where they like take your shit, grow it in a lab, and then reapply it. And then there's like the traditional thing, which has been like the regular protocol, was for the past like 50, 70 years or whatever, like before the newer technology, is they would just drill holes in your bone, which like created some like your bone to react and like grow fiber cartilage, but it's not the same kind of cartilage. So like the success rate of that microfracture is like 50%, so it's not that good, you know.
Yeah.
So he's like, you got a pretty big defect. Like what I think is the best call is like to insert like a cadaver plug, which is basically like a dowel joint in like a piece of wood, you know, like you're filling a hole with like a dowel. And like what he did was like, this was like a few weeks ago, he just like cut me open. It was gnarly, like going under anesthesia. They gave me like spinal anesthesia, stuck a big fucking needle in like my artery in my leg and my inner thigh. It was fucking weird. And I just like woke up with like burning pain, and like he said it was going to be gnarly, but not as bad as I really anticipated. It was like really fucking gnarly. They do like a knee replacement operation where they cut an incision all the way down your knee, cut it open like 8 inches, peel your kneecap back, drill into my femur like a hole, like get rid of the defected cartilage, make a perfect hole, and then drill into the bone a couple millimeters and like plug holes into it, and then sculpt like a perfect piece out of a cadaver and press it in. So
That's insane.
Yeah, it's really gnarly. And like I was reading about this like pre-surgery, just like tripping. I'm like, dude, how the fuck can they even do this without messing up? You know, like this is so nerve-wracking and like scary. I'm like, fuck, man, I don't want to have to deal with this.
That's crazy. I mean, like essentially what they're doing is like they fucking put your knee through a massive car accident.
Yeah.
But they make it so that the healing process, it heals like to a new version. Like for it to like, they destroy it so it can come back, I guess, stronger. But they like when you wake up from the surgery, your knee just went through a car accident. That's what happened.
Yeah, it was insane, dude. It felt like I was like, it just felt like a hot spear or something had like stabbed my leg. Like the sensation was like burning, like it was like set on fire. It was really gnarly, and I was like tripping out, like post anesthesia, post surgery, just like in the waiting room, like bugging, like I was kind of like, I guess like causing a fit, and they like shot me up with like some gnarly narcotics. Like I'm like, dude, what is that? He's like, fentanyl, shoots it up, and I'm just like this, and I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? I wake up and they're like, I didn't want that. Like, what the fuck? Like, this is weird as hell. And then like, I had a friend like OD the week before on drugs, like rest in peace. And like, I didn't want to fucking be on drugs like right after that. Like this, like it's just like chaotic in a hospital. They're like so overran, like to their credit, like with fucking COVID and everything, they're just like kind of operating on fucking, they're overworked and like not really. I felt like it was really dicey, like post-op. Like the way they discharged me was fucking weird.
I mean, just thinking about it, like from what you're telling me, it's like, if you really think about it, like the medical process is not natural. Like there's a difference between natural medicine, which would just be like shit to heal like minor things, but like things like cartilage just breaking out of your knee, like in the natural world before we had crazy surgeries where they put your knees through car accidents, like that's when you're done. That's like when you die because you can't run fast enough or some shit.
I mean, 100 years ago, there's like anything that goes wrong, you're fucked.
You're fucked. Yeah. Like it's done. You can't, like if you chip, which is crazy, all that came from just you chipping probably a relatively small piece of cartilage.
I mean, the reason I got this, like, I don't think if you're a normal person, you would have got this surgery. Like, the reason I got this is because I skate every day. And, like, to be honest, it didn't really hurt that bad prior to surgery, like, if I, like, on a day-to-day basis, if I wasn't skating. Like, I'm sure there's, like, you know, millions of people with cartilage defects and arthritis that don't really do shit because they don't, like, jump down the stairs all the time, you know? So it's, like, not really a big deal to them. But in order for me to, like, maintain what I'm doing, they basically had to fucking, like, smash my knee apart and then like rebuild it, which like felt like shit. And the surgeon was pretty, he like warned me, he's like, this is a very invasive surgery and it's gonna be fucking gnarly, but like you'll be fine. And I'm like reading about it and stuff. Like I have a tendency to kind of freak out and just like read online about everything, like when it comes to like medical conditions and shit like that. But because like I wanted to know what was good also. Like I don't really trust doctors. Like I want to know everything, and like I take it with a grain of salt. Like I know there's a lot of fucking like misinformation and like negative shit out there. Like if you're reading reviews, you're obviously gonna find the fucking horror stories, but like I still,
and you cling to those horror stories.
I mean, I try not to because I'm aware that that's like what you're gonna find, you know. That's like the majority of the shit you're gonna find is like horror stories. But I've kind of like, I want to be like well informed about like what is possible and like what my, like find the right articles, you know, and like check like credibility behind each one and like take those to heart rather than just like reading WebMD, like you know.
So how have you been just dealing with the situation in general, like mentally and physically? Have you been like dreading that you're like essentially your body's hindered, you know, like your mobility's limited and everything?
Yeah.
Or do you kind of just accept it and like, you know?
I've kind of accepted it because, and like I've also, this has been like a year-long process, like over a year long. Anybody who knows me is sick of fucking hearing this, you know? Like this fucking issue, like my knee hurts, like whatever. I'm just hyped to get it over with at this point, you know? I'm just like so hyped. Even when I woke up and felt like I got shot in the kneecap, I was like, thank God it's over. Like it's over now. Now I gotta make it like 2 weeks without like any like weird shit happening, and I'm pretty much in the clear, you know? And it's like, it's been good for me also, you know? It's gotten me to like focus on other shit, like get my health in check. Like I quit smoking cigs because of it. Like cigs were like my only vice at this point for like the past 2 years, but
Why did the surgery or the knee injury make you quit smoking cigs?
just it's like terrible for you to like, that's the first thing they tell you not to do after any surgery is smoke cigs. Like that's like what promotes like infections and shit like that, you know. It's just like not good. I think like I know a lot of kids who are like people my age who like keep smoking and they're fine, but like just don't. I'm not at that point in my life, you know. Like I'm about to be 30. Like if I was like 22, I could probably be more reckless, and I probably would be. But I think it's just like good wake up call and just like good to take it to heart and like use this time wisely and just like think about other shit, you know. I've been skating nonstop for a long time, and I still love skating. I want to skate nonstop still, but it's good to like practice like other shit, you know.
How long did you smoke for?
Fucking forever, dude. Like I don't know, like it just smoking cigarettes since I was in like middle school. I don't know, pretty not really that heavy, like because I've always been like a super active person, you know. Like I've never really felt like, oh, I'm a smoker, but like the past few years, like I quit drinking couple years ago and like partying and shit, and after that I was like smoking really heavy because I was like, that was like my shit. Like I don't know what it is with people like quitting other substances. They start chain smoking, and that was kind of my deal. And I was kind of starting to feel like trash from it. I was like, this is shitty. Like I want to be around for longer than like, and I don't want to waste my time just like smoking cigs, you know. Even though I like them, I definitely like smoking cigs and I miss it. But it's kind of like one of those things you gotta just like leave behind you at a certain point, you know, unless you want to like deal with it. Yeah. It's like you start feeling gross and shit.
No, it's amazing that you ended up quitting. Congrats.
I mean, dude, it's still a struggle. Like I haven't had a cigarette in like almost 3 months, but like I still think about it. So
no, I just keep hearing stories how like when people have injuries, that's how they get hooked on drugs and hooked on bad substances, because they need the painkillers and they need these like reliefs.
Yeah, that's another thing, dude. Like I fucking told you I had a friend overdose on drugs like a week before my surgery or something, like maybe a few days before, and I woke up from being all knocked out on opiates to text him another one of my friends OD'd on drugs, and then I'm like all fucked up, like dealing with like, you know, like it's fucking sad. Like I've lost a lot of friends over the years, and I never really thought that. It's just weird how like time flies, and like once you get to like this age, like midlife or whatever, like a lot of your friends are gone, you know, and it's like fucked up. And then like I'm all fucked up on the couch like with mad painkillers. It's like, what the fuck? This is like terrible. This is like a nightmare. And I'm like taking them too, you know. Like I never really liked opiates or anything like that, but I was taking them because I literally felt like I got like a flaming hot sledgehammer to the knee, you know. My shit was all blown up. I couldn't even like comprehend like dealing with it. I was just like elevating it on the couch, like taking Percocets or whatever the fuck they gave me, and I took them pretty heavy for like 4 days, and then I was like, you know, like the 5th day I was like feeling a little bit more like together, and I was like about to take one, and I was like, you know what, like this is fucked. Like I was just like crying my eyes out last night because my friends are dead from like taking this type of shit. Like I want to stop. Like it's been 4 days. I can probably deal with this pain now. So I do that, and then like I'm just like chilling on my iPad, like reading, and like by like noon I start like spinning and getting dizzy and nauseous and like all that shit. And I'm like, bro, like is this like withdrawals? Like, and I think like it must have been because I was like I was like, how long does it take you to get like hooked on opiates? And like I read online, like after 5 days of taking that shit, your chances of having like an overdose on opiates or becoming opiate dependent like goes up by like 200% after 5 days in a row.
Christ.
So it's like really no joke for people who get hurt and like get hooked on opiates. Like you might not even like opiates at all. Like those shits, like for some people they like them, but like for me, like they just make me dizzy and nauseous. Like I don't really like that, you know. It's like,
so they just give these to you and they don't regulate how it is that you
it
take
says
them?
Dude, it says take a maximum of 12 pills a day, and I was like all spun out like over it, and I was taking like 6, and
Wow.
I took 6 a day for like 4 days, and then I just like was over it I think like the night before, I like it really hit me about my friends and like what my situation was and like how many like fucking drugs, and like I had just coincidentally like a couple weeks prior like watched that Dope Sick show. Like I didn't even finish it because it was so depressing, and I kind of knew the story behind it anyway, so I didn't really like, I was just like, what the fuck is this is nasty, like, and weird. Like I don't like having these things, and like I don't like having to take them, but like I was taking like everything, and honestly they weren't even fucking helping with the pain. Like I was taking every painkiller and the pain was so bad. But like after 4 days, it kind of subsided, and I was just like, just elevate this shit and ice it, and like take some ibuprofen. But yeah, I got like sick for like 2 days from not taking them.
From not taking the painkillers.
Yeah.
It's crazy to think that essentially if you just took them one more day, you could have been hooked on them for life.
I mean, that's what they say. Like, and that's after reading that, I was like, holy fuck. Like, yeah, 4 days of taking them, like. Yeah, like 6 pills a day for 4 days. That's enough to like really get your like gain a dependency, you know. And like I was talking to a friend who got like all the fresh teeth, like veneers, like all of his teeth done, and he said it was like the gnarliest pain, like wanting to go to the emergency room like 2 weeks later because it was like so buck, and he was taking like 6 to 8 Percocets a day. He's not a drug person either. He's not really like never had taken pills or anything like that. And he was taking like 6 a day, he said, for like 2 weeks. His roommate was like, you gotta like cut it out. Like that shit's like gonna fuck you up. And I was just talking to him the other night. It was like my first night like going out and seeing people. And he was like, bro, like I had gnarly withdrawals for like a week. Like that shit, that it makes sense like how that just like takes you over. Like now I kind of understand. I never really got it because like I thought you just like would have to kind of like be interested or something, but like it really has it takes a physical hold on you.
Dude, it's crazy because you would think that the medical system, like me and you always talk about this, like when you think of the medical system or doctors, you're like, oh, professional, they don't fuck up. It wouldn't be that crazy. Like they wouldn't give you an unregulated, literal hard drug that could get you addicted and change your life forever. They wouldn't do that, or like the system is more organized. But then when you actually deal with it and you are trying to get health insurance and call and be informed and fucking do any of this shit, you start realizing like there's just humans, and humans make mad errors, and like this shit is actually mad unorganized, and it's actually insane that you get that shit just to go home with. We talked about this on the show at another time, and like. It's really crazy. Like they just unregulated.
Have so many painkillers. Like they gave me an unnecessary amount. I don't understand why you would ever need that amount of painkillers that they gave me. You know, like that's literally enough to like ruin somebody's life. No. Every time that they prescribe anybody post-op for anything, probably is they give them enough medication to ruin their life. And also like I had to get another surgery in between where the dude like went in and like barely did anything. I was like kind of fine, like kind of fucked me up for a couple days, but no pain, just like an arthroscopy. And I got prescribed like 2 bottles of pills, and like the fucking pharmacy kept texting me every day like, come pick up your pills, and I was like, dude, I don't need them and I don't want them.
The thing is like they text you to come pick them up, but they don't text you like how many are you really taking or really checking, you know what I mean? Because as soon as you leave the hospital, you could down the whole bottle. They don't know.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? And the prescription, like on the bottle, it says don't exceed more than 12 pills a day. Like 12 is gnarly. I feel like somebody could fucking OD from that. I don't know.
Yeah, that means that more than 12 is going to kill your ass.
Yeah, probably. But then like, yeah, it's very unregulated for sure.
You're making me think, because I've never talked to my family about this, but like my dad, he had cancer on his leg, and he had to get a total knee replacement. So he has an entire like titanium, like his knee's not there, it's just titanium.
Wow.
And like he couldn't walk for like many years. Went through chemo, whatever. But I'm thinking like, did he fucking have to take like that crazy painkiller shit? Like
that was probably more painful than what I went through. Like. if he had a full, I don't really know like the levels of pain to each surgery, obviously, but like I think like a full knee replacement when it's like a titanium deal like that is pretty gnarly, because they have to like shave off anything where they're like putting in bone or taking away bone is really gnarly.
Shaving bone.
Yeah, like shaving bone is pretty fucked.
Dude, what the fuck?
Like that shit, like think about like a drill going into a piece of metal. Like if shit gets hot. Like my shit was like sweltering hot inside my leg. I was like, what's going on?
How do you feel now?
Like so much better. I felt like when you hit me up like a few days ago to come on Wednesday, I honestly was like feeling weird. Like I was feeling like sick again, kind of. And I don't know, like if it's just because I've been through a lot of like physical trauma and just like not used to like laying on the couch all day, you know. So like maybe, or like, you know, flu's going around and shit. I don't know. I've been feeling good other than like that day you hit me up.
Are you taking anything for your knee, like whether it be any type of painkillers, ibuprofen, or like even just natural remedies like turmeric or anything like that?
I stopped. Natural remedies, no. I've been meaning to get like turmeric root and make tea. That's what my homie was telling me to do, but I've been taking supplements that have turmeric in them. But,
dude, I'll give you mad of it right
really?
now. Yeah.
I'm down.
I'll give it all of it to you.
Sick. Yeah. I used to take this shit from Whole Foods. It was like curcumin, I guess is the shit that's in turmeric.
Mm-hmm.
It's like really good for anti-inflammatory shit. And I took that for a while, and it was like gnarly on my stomach. Like if I took it on an empty stomach, it would like fuck me up, you know, like eating garlic or something.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, you're only supposed to take a little bit amount.
Yeah. Turmeric, I should be doing. I forgot about that. I'm mostly just ice, man, because like I know from like injuring myself and like smacking my knees in the past and hitting any joints like that. Like if you fuck your joints up and don't ice them, that shit just like prolongs the injury process like so much. Like ice really speeds up your shit. Like I always emphasize when like I see a homie like smack the shit out of their knee or like roll their ankle, like you gotta ice that shit right away, and it will like you could be better in a few days opposed to like a month, like if you don't ice it, because otherwise that swelling is gonna kick in and not go away for a minute. Like that shit like really fucks up your joints if you don't like get on it quick. So I've been like really strict with icing.
Ice is pretty real. Like have you ever done ice baths?
Yeah, I was like super into saunas, like hot, cold plunges, saunas. Like when I would go to the Russian Turkish bathhouse all the time before that, before COVID, and I believe in that shit. There's tons of studies that like say that's how good that is for you, you know.
What, the hot to the cold?
Yeah. Cryogenic
like,
therapy.
Yeah.
Shit.
Because I've heard that in the ice bath, it's like your body thinks that it's literally dying, so then like it releases crazy chemicals and proteins and just nutrients that to facilitate the healing process and try to save itself from dying. So you're not supposed to do after a certain amount, depending on the temperature of the water. Like you go for like, let's say like 2 minutes, and then like after a certain amount, it's no longer benefit, like it's actually harmful because you're literally killing yourself.
Yeah.
So even just like general like icing with an ice pack, it's like a miniature version of that to a very specific part of your body.
Yeah, I think I really like physiologically it's like constricts the capillaries, you know, and that's what like the cold is doing, is it like freezes everything up, and then like the heat is what like brings the like new blood through and kind of like washes it all away, like in simple terms. And that's kind of like what promotes healing, like constricting and releasing.
So what do you think
like,
of... Oh, sorry, go ahead, bro.
No, that's just like I really felt the benefits from doing that when I was on the fucking the sauna tip for a while.
So what do you feel like now, just in terms of like mentally, in terms of just it healing and your thoughts towards the future of just your skateboarding? That's like your career.
Yeah, I mean, it was scary because that's my career, and I was like telling the surgeon like, yo, this is my career, like please like tell me like, tell me the truth, like what the fuck's gonna happen, you know. And like he was like, I really know you're gonna be okay, like this surgery has like from what I read, like an 80% like success outcome. But like all those studies, you have to take into account the variables of like people who are like unhealthy, overweight, fucking have like prior injuries to their knee. Like my knee was in like perfect shape aside from like one like relatively large size defect that they just plugged up, you know, like a patch of Bondo, I guess.
Well, I think he should be good. Like you saw that injury that Ronnie Sandoval had, where he straight.
Oh fuck yeah,
dude! Like, and
that
he's skating
gnarly.
now, so
yeah.
like, you must be good, dude.
Yeah, I think I'll be all right. I tend to get like pretty dark in my head about shit like that. Like I'm like, what if this? What if that? But I have like a good feeling overall. Deep down, I know that everything's gonna be fine. And I've always been like good at healing. Like I've always healed right. I've never been really prone to like infection or getting sick. Luckily, knock on wood. But I feel confident that I'll be all right. And just like taking care of myself, it's given me like a nudge to be like, yo, like take care of yourself and don't fucking like brush things aside, you know? Like this is the type of injury I could have just been like, oh, I'm fine, like fuck it, like I'll just ice my knee, but then like somewhere down the line I'll just get like terrible arthritis and have to quit skating like 10 years earlier than I would have to, you know? Because like I don't know. I just like haven't had any serious injuries, so I guess I kind of like was like, holy fuck, this is a serious one because I gotta like get this gnarly surgery.
No, it could definitely be like a positive thing, like an injury too, because
for sure
it kind of can slow down your days to where you can focus on simpler things. You know what I mean? Like you're not always in a rush to be somewhere physically. You know what I mean? So like you could just chill out on the couch and kind of work on yourself.
Yeah, you know? There's a lot of shit that I want to like put my energy towards that I like really hadn't had the time to, or like thought I had the time to, that I just am like down to sit down and like hone in on these things that I've been thinking about.
When you skate as a pro skater and you're getting paid to skate and there's like probably deadlines, probably some fucking contracts and shit, how different does it feel than when you just are like a free skater where you don't have any sponsors? There's no, like, you don't have to skate for a week if you don't want to. There's no video parts. Does it feel any different? Does it take away any fun or get annoying?
I mean, maybe to some degree, but it's kind of like a gradual process. I feel like it didn't really happen overnight, and like I genuinely love skateboarding like my whole life, so it was kind of like, you know, like, holy shit, I get to skate all the time. Like, this is awesome. And in the moment, it's pretty awesome. And, like, you live kind of in the fast lane, just, like, skating, traveling. And, like, I was, like, drinking a lot, like, just fucking, like, doing whatever, not really caring. And, like, but, like, in hindsight, like, that is kind of, like, the demise of a lot of people, you know? Like, you just kind of don't have any time to really stop and think. You're just fucking, like, chucking yourself everywhere, like, being kind of reckless. Not everybody, but like I definitely was. I know a lot of skaters are and were, and a lot of people don't really get their shit together and like take a break and think like, oh fuck, like I need to like slow down before this like all just crumbles, because like you got to give yourself some time, you know. And it is like stressful, like having to film parts obviously, but like not really at the same time. Like it's just like a job, which is kind of whack and weird because it's like something that you do for fun, and like it maybe shouldn't be like in that category of like work per se, but like I've never really felt like tired of it in that sense because I've always really liked skating and it's always like kind of kept me sane, you know. So like having to skate every day has never felt like, oh, this sucks, you know. Mm-hmm. To me, I've always been pretty grateful about skating. Like holy shit, like I get to do this for a living. Like mad people have like jobs that they fucking hate, you know. Like I get to do this shit that I like to do and be with my friends all the time. Like how am I going to complain about that? Definitely feel lucky, you know. It's not like, but also I feel like I said, it's maybe cutting a lot of other outlets short when it's just like that's what you have to do, like all you do is skate. Then it's like, where do you end up after that? Because that shit doesn't last forever, you know. And like you've been spending all your time skating and then like that shit's over and like what, I feel like it's pretty hard for a lot of people to adapt.
No, I mean, dude, definitely you see that just time and time again with different eras of skaters. Like, that's actually
it's been a lot of generations now, and you see it, you know.
That's actually a question I wanted to ask you. Like, do you ever think of what comes next? Like, there are a few skaters that just through their aura and through their just like almost like mythological type of persona, they can just keep it going in a sense. Like, even when their skating ability goes down or their body ages. But for the most part, it's not like that. Do you have like plans for after skateboarding or anything like that?
Not necessarily, but I like to keep my mindset broad and like make sure like practice like other things in the meantime, you know, which like is hard to do, but also now it's like being injured and stuff is like a good time to really like take into consideration like, damn, like I want to like get better at this. I want to get better. I want to like start reading more. I want to like consider these things about the future, like having a little bit more of like a clear head than I have in the past, you know, like just like trying to focus on shit. Like I have a lot more time than I used to because I used to be out all the fucking time. Now I'm even like before I got hurt, like the past couple of years, I've been keeping it pretty mellow with COVID. I haven't really traveled at all. I've been like just chilling. Like I go skate. I skate hard. I like skating way more than I did when I was hungover all the time, you know? Like I like skating a lot, and then I get home and like I have all this time where like before I'd be like out like kicking rocks forever, like not having any time to myself or thinking about that sort of thing. So like I feel like I've been gaining momentum in that realm outside of skating, just like thinking about like other shit that I like to do and getting better at it, you know? Like unfortunately a lot of it's like shit on the computer, which like I don't really know if I can see myself like being a computer guy like stuck on the computer, because I'm pretty like active, you know? I wish I had like more like outlets to like physical things, physical work I could do, but like you know, can't have everything. And
I mean, it's good to have both though too. Like you have the physical, like you're like crazy good at skating, you get paid to skateboard, like, you know, you have shoe sponsor, board sponsor. It wouldn't be bad to have like that other shit that has nothing to do with physical, because if the physical body breaks, then you just broke all your shit if all your shit was physical.
Yeah, it's like having
it's like a backup plan.
Yeah, investment portfolio of some sort.
I think it's interesting how you talk about like in some interview you talked about how decompressing is important, having time to yourself, time alone, and that's like I feel like super important, especially in New York. You fucking just crowded with people all the time on the train, at parks, and especially if you're living this pro skateboarder lifestyle, always there's friends, there's things to do, always there's spots to skate, people to chill with. What do you do just to decompress, and what do you think about like time alone and shit?
I spend a lot of time alone or like with my girlfriend nowadays. Just like I like being at home. I like having my apartment like how I like it. I don't like living in squalor. I don't like having a bunch of shit that I've been putting off, and like things that I have to like errands that I haven't done that are like getting to, like I don't like feeling like rushed to do shit. I like making lists of like knocking things out that I just like aren't gonna cause me problems in the future, you know, like whether it be fucking taxes or like fucking changing my insurance so I'm not getting ripped off, or like whatever the fuck. I like to stay on top of things, you know, because like otherwise I just get fucking anxiety and like I feel overwhelmed, and then I just don't feel comfortable. So I like kind of just like staying on top of shit, you know, and it makes me feel better than like just being like haphazard, like oh fuck, like whatever, I'll do it later, like I don't have no time at home, like just being like in a fucking different state or different country, like hungover and tired or whatever. Just like I like to just feel a little bit more like I'm in control of my own life type of shit nowadays.
Yeah, I think it's definitely important to kind of take a step back, whether it be like every few days, once a week or whatever, and like evaluate at what speed you're moving at in terms of life, you know what I mean? Especially in like the city, what Angel was saying, like the hustle and bustle, like always being around people, always there's noise, like that takes a toll on you. You need like the other side of that, which is complete silence, like the yin and the yang, you know what I mean? So like I feel that too, like especially working like a full-time job and doing the podcast. It's like sometimes after work I have to like, to get here on time, I have to fucking ride the whole shoulder lane on my motorcycle, like from Brooklyn to Queens, doing some crazy stuff, like the wind, like what am I saying? The weather being a factor, just always rushing on time, and it's just like a lot of tension sometimes.
It gets exhausting,
you know what I mean?
and like I've really like taken a step back and like tried to realize how fucking lucky I am to like have so much more time than most people do, because like I don't have to fucking clock in, you know? And like I really want to like utilize that time and like do something like productive with it, like for my mental or for like other people. Like I wish I did more for other people sometimes, because like I feel like selfish in that way, that like I kind of just live my life and that's it. Like, but like I want to just like put something out there that like people are down for and like inspire other people maybe. And like I know skateboarding does that. Like I've felt like down about it before, like, but people have been like, no, but like you skate and that gets kids hyped, you know, which is cool to think about, you know. Like it's a lot of people like search like their like are looking for like their calling or like whatever, like influence on like whatever they do, what purpose it has in this world. But yeah, I mean,
I talked to Andrew Wilson about this shit. Mm-hmm. I definitely think that being a pro skater is like, as like maybe strange as it is to say, it has like a definite cost to it. Because although skating is kind of like, it kind of can be like a game, like you're just doing tricks on like an object. But at the end of the day, like it's like, dude, people seriously, obviously get obsessed with skating. It becomes their life, and it's centered around like the videos that come out, the fucking pros that are doing whatever. They change their whole style up, and depending on someone who influenced them, like it gives them a reason, at least for me, like when I was skating way more, like to wake up in the morning, to like an identity, you know what I mean? Like you give people an identity. Yeah, and that's like a wicked important thing.
I mean, I know for a fact that that's true, because like everyone, like we were all kids at one point, you know, and like that shit like meant the world to us, like seeing shit that was inspiring, that like, you know, like musicians, like skateboarders, like whoever the fuck you look up to, is like, if you're in that position of like that's what you do, you might feel like it's meaningless, but like really I feel like it influences a lot of people, and you just like do something and like people appreciate it. It's like goes farther than you might realize maybe.
Yeah, and it's like a door opener, you know. Yeah. Like you just from, especially the time when full-length videos were around, you get a physical copy, you check out every single musician, that the whole shit that everyone skated to, you get into that, you just discover a whole world. Yeah You pretty much discover a whole world that otherwise, like, you know, when I was in high school, no one I went to school with, no one I went to school with, there was like 2 skaters in my school, and nobody knew nothing about anything besides like me and my homie. Like in our eyes, like no one knew about like no one knew who fucking like anyone was. Like no one knew who like Nas was, or like I was probably the only like 14-year-old who was like listening to like, let's say like old school anything. Yeah. And all of that was because of skating. Like even graffiti. Graffiti, like I saw in Thrasher Mag, and I would see in like Baker and all that shit, like Neckface, and I'm like, oh, what the fuck is this? Or just like anything, like music, like hardcore punk history, or any of that. It all was revealed to me through skateboarding.
Yeah, I mean, you try to imagine your childhood like not having any of that shit. Like, what the fuck would you really be thinking about? Especially like if you're a kid who like doesn't really fit in or like school or like what you're supposed to like, you know. Like if I didn't have like skating or my friends or like the music I listened to, like I don't know what the fuck I would have been thinking about. I probably would have been like depressed or something, you know.
Yeah, definitely. No, it's honestly really crazy, because it does give you like a whole nother avenue, and like a whole nother way to look at it. What do you think about now with like skating going to the Olympics, everything becoming so mainstream?
Yeah, I guess nowadays I don't really know what it's like to be a kid. You know, like everything's such at a faster pace. Everything changes so quick. Everything's so accessible. Like kids are just indulged in like everything, knowing exactly when everything happens. You know, like there's like everybody's on Instagram. Like you see what everybody's doing nonstop. You know, like there is like upsides to that. Like kids are like more informed about like how the world works, I think, by looking at that. But also it's like the world works in a weird way now. Like that's not how it used to be. And like as far as skateboarding, I feel like it probably is even more so, like, more influential than it ever has been. I mean, it's obviously, like, grown exponentially since we were kids, and, like, that means that it's, like, reaching more kids, like, more numbers. So, like, that's probably a good thing, because it's making, like, more people feel good and, like, have something to look forward to, right? Even though it, like, seems corny to, like, our age group. But
I always wonder, like, if it will ever become a thing where, like, it's straight up like this, the high school skateboarding team, which it will. If there's Olympics, then it will.
It's pretty close.
Yeah,
I think it's already a thing, like, in Scandinavia and shit, and Japan and stuff.
A whole different demographic of people would get into skating. Like, it could, like, skating is relatively young in comparison to like a baseball or
for sure,
or a basketball or boxing that has, like, hundreds of years of history. Like, skating is relatively young. There's no telling what the fuck it will turn into. Like,
yeah, it's crazy. I feel like it probably will be like I don't know, like tennis or some shit, like something that, like, everybody plays. Is like, I mean, way more kids skate than play tennis. It's a terrible example, but I don't fucking know. You know, just, like, more, like, normalized, I guess. Not really, like, I mean, it was always, like, looked at as, like, a kind of outcast type of activity, like kids that, like, smoke weed and ditch school type shit. But now it's, like, probably your fucking straight A student is, like, down for skating, you know?
Which is insane.
Yeah.
That's insane. Like, every single person, almost everyone in my middle school cooked my shit for skating.
For sure.
Like, I had like, skate mids. It was, like, my second skate shoe, and I was insanely hyped on it, and everyone cooked my shit.
Yeah. I mean, it is definitely changing. I mean, maybe that's probably for the better in a lot of ways, like, kind of sad in a lot of ways, because it's not going to be the same, but, like, whatever, things change, you know?
Exactly, yeah.
It's like, whatever. It's good that, like, more kids are getting, like, that outlet, honestly, because, like, I've seen skating save a lot of people, you know? And, like, for whatever reason, I guess it's just, like, yeah, some, like, that passion, and, like, if it's there, it doesn't fucking matter, like, what it really is, like, what skateboarding really is. It's just, like, if people are, like, in it and, like doing it, that's, like, what matters, you know?
No, in one way it's definitely good that like, a lot of kids are getting out and doing something physical like skateboarding, you know what I mean? Especially in an age of, like, technology where, like a 2-year-old is already addicted to an iPad, you know what I mean? So, like, seeing a skate park full with, like you say, like, even, like, nerds and shit is cool, but it does take away, there is that side where, like, it's not genuine outcasts anymore, like rebels, or, like, people that just are kind of, like, outlaws in society.
It's kind of, the only annoying thing to me is, like, Instagram is, like, so instilled in our society that, like, I feel like people just, like, use it as, like, an outlet to be, like, seen, like, you know what I mean? I feel like they use that they will take, like, any subculture and, like, apply it to, like, social media to, like, become popular or some shit like that, which is, like, whatever, I guess. Like, that's just, like, how the world works now, but, like, it's kind of shitty. It's kind of sad, I guess. It's like, it's kind of just, like, appropriating it, like, for no reason, just to, like, kind of get a leg up, but, like, everything's like that. Like, that's just, like, how the world works now, I guess.
What's your relationship with Instagram in terms of, like, I guess, how much time you spent on it?
How much time you spend on it? Right now, it sucks. I definitely look at it all the time. And, like, it's hard to get away from it. Like, I fucking text you on it. Like, I don't have your phone number. Like, there's so many people like that fucking, like, talk to on Instagram. It's like fucking AOL Messenger or whatever, you know? It's just kind of, I wish it just didn't waste my time as much as it did. Like, I look at shit and you get lost. It's like fucking instant messenger / texting / fucking Tumblr / fucking Facebook.
Everything.
Like, yeah, it's like everything. Email, work.
Family.
Yeah. It's
weather.
Like,
now I got to write in my notes. Oh, don't forget the calendar. Yeah. Like, there's so much shit. It's absolutely insane, dude.
It's kind of just like the universal app, so it's pretty inescapable, and it's kind of like hard to function almost without it in a lot of ways, even though that sounds like bullshit, but it kind of just is like, yeah, it's kind of like grouped a bunch of shit into one that makes it, like, easier to fucking access a lot and, like, deal with things through that, you know? But I don't think it's the worst. I just think it's like fucking exhausting. And like as far as skating goes, it's kind of annoying because like I miss the way things used to be, obviously, and a lot of people do, like just like videos and like that anticipation of like, oh, sick, like this video's coming out, and like I have to wait and I have to fucking like buy this thing, and it's gonna have like, I'm gonna have a physical copy, and like nothing's like that anymore.
Wondering what the ender's gonna be.
Yeah.
Nobody gives a fuck.
Dude,
about
I can't even ever get a chance to watch a skate video anymore because I just see all the fucking tricks on Instagram like the day it comes out, and then I'm like, oh, and then it's like I have to like go. I just the want is like diminished. It's like I've seen. It's like I watched a trailer that released all the information, you know. So it's like hard to go watch the movie, you know. But I still do. I try to.
Yeah, I agree. It's like a constant stimulation.
Yeah.
That's like the problem with it. It's like you don't really appreciate. You get numb to like even the best tricks or like even graffiti, like the best spots. You see them on Instagram.
Yeah, right.
And when you see it in person, it's like, oh, that's where that is. It's
yeah,
like,
I could see that with graffiti big time. It's like you see everything on Instagram. It's like that takes away from like what like real life a lot of times.
100%. I remember in like 2012, 2013 era in like the graffiti in New York, it wasn't as popular to document it on Instagram. There were people doing it, I believe, but like it wasn't popular. But it was like Flickr. But Flickr is not really like a mobile app that you use the same way you use Instagram.
Right.
So I'd just walk through Brooklyn, walk through Manhattan, and I'd see all the shit, and it would excite the fuck out of me. I would see it, and I'd be like, yo, this guy. I like walk with my friends, like, yo. Now I walk through, and I'm like, okay, I know I'm gonna see the same 7 people, and I've also already seen those same 7 people exactly what they did from 30 different angles on Instagram.
Yeah, it's pretty...
And it 100% just decreases the like, yo, I'm seeing some ill shit.
Yeah.
I like don't even feel that way
that's
anymore.
That's what I feel like it sucks about all these like weird little subgenres of like activity and like shit that people do is like, yeah, like I just feel like so many people do it for like fame because of Instagram now. It's like annoying.
Well, it's like really crazy. Instagram applies to things like skateboarding or graffiti because, like, as far as I'm concerned, in my little mind, skating and graffiti was one of those things, at least for me, that was like, yo, like, this is what I do. Like, it's a quote from some graffiti video, but it's like, this is me. I was here, like, fuck off, I don't care. Or skating, it's like, yeah, like I don't have to be the best. I'm just, like, doing my shit with, like, my style, dressing how I want, with my friends doing my thing, and it's not necessarily about being social. At least it wasn't for me. Like, it's not necessarily about being friendly with everybody, and it's like kind of more like our thing. And then with Instagram, it's social media. It's about being social. It's about like, yo, everybody look at me.
Yeah.
Like, look at me. Like, I have these new pants that cost $150 on now, and like, dude, like if you were to have at least like at this one skate park I'm thinking of, like you walk in with a pair of pants that cost $150 in the bright orange, like. No, you're gonna get cooked. Yeah. Now it's like if you're not doing that, if you're not wearing a certain brand, and it's partly attached to Instagram spreading that.
Yeah, it's a look at me sort of culture now. It's not really about like passion, which like is fine, I guess, but it's just it's not as cool. It's not as cool to like, you know, like people who are down for like doing things before they were cool, but I mean. Whatever, that sounds corny, dude. I don't fucking know. It's just like hard to adapt. I mean, who knows what it's gonna be like in like 10 years? It's gonna be gnarly. Maybe it won't even be cool to be like that anymore. Like maybe shit won't be like put on blast as much. Like maybe it will be more cool to be like low key and like keep things hidden again, you know, or like not blow up a spot on Instagram or like fucking like show yourself off and like put like weight and like put it out in like a video or whatever, you know. But I don't know, that's like, I don't know why everybody gravitated towards that, but I guess I get it because it's like the stimulation. It's like the fucking dopamine fix. Like people just like the constant dopamine, like you want more and more. Like the more you see it, it's like, oh, sick. And
it does make sense.
It just like dumbs it down, but like it is still like we still love these things. So
it doesn't make sense. It's like before the only people who could really be seen to that magnitude were the pros. It's like now I can be seen like the pros. I can edit that shit myself on my phone with whatever song I want. and just like I can be that pro who gets seen as much as these pros did.
That
or
is
some
cool
shit like
too,
that.
though.
Yeah,
like,
no,
you
exactly.
can like you can make your own. You can make your own shit like out of thin air, like easy now, which is kind of cool, you know. But like, I guess the flavor's changed. That's all it is.
On like a different subject, in some interview you talked about how you worked 6 jobs in 6 months before before like skating was the job and stuff. Like what was the deal with that? What jobs were they and like why did you?
I was just a shitty employee, like just like a early 20s, like being a shithead. I don't know, just like I actually just couldn't really hold a job because I was just like really irresponsible, pretty much. In simple terms. Also, the want wasn't there. I didn't want to fucking be there, so I just like juggled a bunch of jobs. So I was like, fuck this one, get fired from that one, fuck this one, whatever. Like it was just like I don't know. I did like metal fabrication for a while. Like that's what my dad does, and I've kind of like had like a brief knowledge, like or basic knowledge growing up, like doing it with him a little bit. Like I used to work with him like growing up and did that in the city, just like working for people that like kind of just I was like, fuck this dude, like I don't like him, so I'm over it, you know. Or like working at like I worked at like a lighting design company in Chelsea for few months, probably like 6 months, got fired because I was just like, fuck this, I don't like these people, I don't like this job. I don't know, I feel like that's just how New York is. You just get a job and like it fucking sucks. I mean, maybe you'll get lucky and get a sick one first out the gate, you know, but like New York's kind of like cutthroat. Like you get a job and like you don't have to feel bad bailing because like if it sucks, you're off it, you move on. And I don't know, maybe like it sucks being broke too, but like I don't know.
You ever thought of
I never really like could hold a job. It was also like I was too young to really like have the want to like have any stability, you know. Like I was used to being like broke and having no money in my bank account and just like riding it out and like figuring things out here and there, you know. And that's like that was fun. I couldn't do it now. I'd probably hold any of those jobs if I had to now, but that's just, where I was at that point.
you ever thought about moving out of New York?
Recently, I've like thought about it just because I never really had, and just the thought is like trippy because I'm like, fuck, I don't really know where I would move. I always kind of wanted to move here. Like, I'm from Colorado originally, and my mom and my dad are both from like Northeast. My mom's from Westchester, my dad's from Boston. So I grew up like coming out here visiting my grandparents like my whole life. And I kind of just like always liked the Northeast. I had a close relationship with my grandparents. My parents, or like I still have all my grandparents and I'm really close to them. And I just kind of like the Northeast. Like Colorado is just like, I grew up in the mountains. Everyone's like into skiing and shit, which is cool. Like I grew up snowboarding. But like that just wasn't the lifestyle I wanted. Like I didn't like small town, like no animosity, you know, like just fucking like it felt like I was on blast all the time. Like I need more like I wanted to be like kind of like in the fucking mix of like crazy shit. Like I didn't want to like walk down the street and like see someone I knew every fucking 10 minutes, but now it's like that in New York. Like small world here too, but it's definitely more stimulating. It just like I could maybe move back like to Colorado someday, but I don't want to. Like I thought about it, I don't really want to. I don't really know where I would fucking move. Like I honestly kind of like the Northeast. Maybe I like New York City a lot. I've always just loved skateboarding so much, and that's kind of like why I wanted to move to New York, is because of skating. And just like I would come here as a kid and just like, or anywhere I would go. Like I was lucky enough as a kid, like my parents would like take me places. They'd take me here to visit my grandparents all the time, that I'd just like, any chance I got, I'd just fucking split. Like no phone, nothing. I'd just like skate anywhere, just be lost as fuck everywhere. and it'd take me like all day to figure out how to get home, just like get in trouble for being late. But then like my parents were pretty cool. They never really like gave me too much shit. They kind of like trusted me for some weird reason, just like let me do what I wanted. And then like that was just always my shit. And like as soon as I got a taste of that, I was like, dude, there's no fucking way I'm staying in Colorado.
So how long have you been living here?
11 years, since 2010.
When you first moved here, what was your like apartment situation like? Did you ever live in a skate house in New York or?
No, I actually went to Pratt. I finished Pratt too. I finished 4 years of school. I lived in the dorms for a year, almost got kicked out like immediately. I don't know why. I just always have like been a target with like authority figures. Like I've always been getting in trouble for a lot of the times like nothing too. Like I'll just get blamed for shit. People just like don't fuck with me for some reason. Like authority figures just think I'm a bad person or like a fucking troublemaker, which like I kind of am, but also like I'm kind of not at the same time. I guess I just like rub them the wrong way or something. So I basically was like a hair away from getting kicked out the whole like first semester or whatever, and then I like moved out and got like apartment pretty close, like in the Navy Yard, and then with like a couple kids I went to school with, which was like really fucked. Had like roaches, like so many roaches. It was so fucked up, dude. That apart, and like the ceiling collapsed. It was like living in squalor. The place was so shitty, dude. And like the ceiling collapsed and the landlord didn't do anything about it. And this was like over Christmas or something. And I was up in Boston with my grandparents, and I came back, and the one roommate who stayed for Christmas just like shoveled a fucking pathway like through all the dust and shit that came through the roof. And I was like, yo, like what? Like you're just living here like this? And he's like, yeah, the landlord never came. I'm like, this is fucked. So I moved out of there like right before everyone got bed bugs. And I moved into, I've lived in like 10 different apartments since I've lived here. It was like 1 or 2 a year for like 7 years.
That's how a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of people do it.
I never really settled down, and it's like still been hard. Like my last apartment I lived in South Williamsburg for like the longest time I held down a place was 3 years. But before that, it was like 1 or 2 apartments every year. And yeah, I did the whole school thing, and like that kind of like got me hyped to like get a job and like work in like the design industry, which I was like studied to work in, you know, like I studied industrial design. And I just like wasn't like mentally there at like age 22 to like hold a real job. I like always had issues with like authority figures and like couldn't really hold a job, kind of. Not that I'm like super defiant or anything, but or maybe I am, I don't know. I just like either rubbed someone the wrong way or I hated the job, you know. Mm-hmm. But like meanwhile, like the whole time I was going to school, I just pretty much skated on all my free time, and like I made it. I liked going to school too. Like I hated high school so much, but like going to school, like studying shit that I was actually interested in, it was like a change of pace for me, and like I actually got like pretty into it and was down for it, and like was getting good grades for like the first time in my life, and like started working after that like in the field I thought I wanted to, but it just didn't really like, I don't know, I just wasn't really responsible, and I didn't really know what the fuck I wanted either, you know. So like then I just the whole time was skateboarding, and that just like kind of came knocking out of nowhere. Just was like got a contract skating, and then I just started skating like I was already skating every day. I was like working, skating, school, skating. Like skating's just always been like the one like common denominator in my life, you know. And then it just became my job, and I just like was hyped And like it also like happened for me and a lot of my friends too, like all at once. It was it was kind of crazy. Like it was like, wait, like we've just been doing this shit anyway for so long and like having so much fun anyway, and like no one ever fucking thought that it would like become a source of income. And now it's like kind of crazy, like 10 or like whatever, this was like 7 years ago now, I guess. Like 7 years down the line now, we're like still kind of like all kicking it, skating. It's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, I mean, your friend group is essentially one of the, like, if you think of like New York City skateboarding crews, it's like your friend group's one of the main ones.
Yeah, I guess so. We've kind of been at it for a minute now, so.
Yeah.
And it's like pretty sick, you know, like I'm hyped. I still am like thankful that I get to do what I want, and I'm still with like my friends that I started doing it with in the city. And like, I don't know, I feel definitely like it's been, time flies. It's one thing.
When is your knee supposed to be good by?
Actually, it's like pretty quick recovery considering how gnarly of a surgery it was. It's like a 4-month, heals in 4 months, and then like I'm supposed to do like really intensive like strengthening routines for like an additional 2.
Okay.
So they say like 6 months. Originally the surgeon told me 4. He's like, you'll be skating in 4 months, and I'm like, sick. But like, cause like ACL replacement, like any other knee injury that I'd heard of is at least like 6 months, but like ACLs can be like a year, is like what they say. And like I've seen so many people over the years like blow their knees out and then like go back early and blow it out again, and that's just a fucking wrap, you know. It's like a scary thing, hurting your knee. But luckily it's not an ACL or ligament. I think ligaments are a lot harder. It takes a lot more like intensive training and rehab to get a ligament to be like back on par, because like once you blow your ligaments, your stability's off, and that's like pretty major, you know. Like my issue wasn't ever stability. It was just kind of like tight and swelling and stiffness. And so yes, I'll be back next spring.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm hyped.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly look forward to seeing whatever it is you do. You were filming like a video, so I'm hyped to see whatever happens with that. And
yeah, we're actually like dropping a board brand. It's about to come out next month.
Oh, sick, dude.
Yeah.
Who is it?
It's me and Max and Logan Lara, Max Palmer, Aaron Loreth, Hugo Bosserup, and Nelly, and Genesis part of it, and maybe and like a few other people too. But like, it's just been like mostly me and Max, Logan, and Aaron, and Hugo. Just like it's been in the works for about a year, and we're just starting to get it underway, and it's gonna be in stores like nationwide and in Europe next month.
That's awesome.
Video.
Dude, that's sick.
Yeah, it's so amazing. You've been setting this all up with all them.
Yeah, so I've had a lot to work on, you know, like it's been pretty, I feel like that's definitely been beneficial for my mental, like actually having a lot of fucking shit to do and think about. Like that it's nerve-wracking, you know. So like I'm busy. I'm not just like thinking like, oh fuck, like I'm hurt and I can't skate. Like I'm lucky to have started we started this a year ago, started talking about it. We talked for just like fucking ideas, bouncing ideas off each other for like 6-7 months, and then just finally like getting things really underway, like getting in with the manufacturer. Like we're getting BBS, like bareback wood, just like kind of the best in the industry. It's like in Tijuana. Thanks to Aaron. Aaron kind of has the plug to everything, knows how to do production, works in production for another brand, so it's kind of like shit fell into place at the right time. And yeah, it'll be sick. There's gonna be a video comes out next month with the drop.
Awesome, dude. Yeah, I mean,
wait to see that.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I mean, hitting the ground running. You have a sick team immediately as soon as it comes out.
Yeah, I'm excited, man. It's like, it's cool because like we're all friends and we're all just kind of like able to do what we want. Like that's why we're doing it, so we can do what we want to do, exactly what we want to do, like how we want to do it. And it's like kind of the next step, you know. It's like I'm really fucking thankful to have like good friends and like people that I want to do this with, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like gonna be sick, I think.
No, it's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
I know for a fact it's gonna be awesome. So,
Thanks.
dude, thank you for coming on the show, bro.
Yeah, of course.
I'm hyped. I'm hyped to happen.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
For sure. Peace.
Peace, man.